Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Don't Panic. This week, since it's sort of our Dallas Pride Month, we're going to be talking about all things that have to do with the rainbow community. But before we get started and talking about all those topics, I'm going to have my guests introduce themselves, starting right here.
My name's Tori Martin. I'm a film editor by trade, but I also do like photography, graphic design, stuff like that.
Ooh, and you're a writer.
I am a writer, yes.
Which we're going to discuss. Yeah.
A very good writer.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got privy to some of her stuff early on, and I'm really excited about it. Brandy Mars Sky. I am also a writer. I write for the Dallas Voice. You can catch me on DVTV on the Scene. And I just started writing for BET.com.
What?
Yeah, I got an email. One of the editors that I worked with on Global Grind and Cassius Life, she also works for BET, and she was like, I love your writing style.
You're like,
we want you.
I
Yeah.
know.
Do you want to write for BET? I was like, is that like even a question? Like, fuck yeah. Like, so I'm writing for BET, and my first article comes out today.
Can you say what it's about or the title of it?
Yeah, it's about DACA. It's about, liberal celebrities who now are coming out in support of DACA, who didn't actually vote for Hillary Clinton or voted for Jill Stein or just didn't vote at all.
Gotcha.
So it's like
Ooh.
it's a commentary on that.
Oh, that sounds kind of deep and like political and
And
stuff.
I have my own disclaimer, guys. It says like the article, it's like Tammy and I, we always joke.
Yeah.
It says this article is reflective of the author's opinions only and not BET.com. I'm like, ooh, I'm a radical.
Nice. Ooh, she's going rogue.
I'm going rogue.
Nice. Oh my God. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is
I'm
a big
super
deal.
Excited. Yeah. I'm super excited.
And for our last guest, he is not here right now. He said that he was going to try to make the show, and I still hope that he will. I'm sure if he makes it, we'll know before our first break in a few minutes. So, Michael, if you can't make it, I understand. But if you can, I'm sure this studio is going to get really loud all of a sudden.
Oh, is he another loud vocal person?
Oh, yeah. She's a talker and she's loud.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, exactly. And so, guys, what we're going to be discussing is I'd like to know a lot about people's stories with their families, especially with coming out, and not necessarily coming out stories, because those have been done and everyone has a coming out story. But I like to know what happens after you come out. What happens? What's the dynamic like with your family? Do you get along? What if they're Trump supporters? What if they are 100% on your side, but what if they're not? You know, I didn't realize how different everyone's story was until I moved to Dallas and came out, and then realized how non-supportive a lot of families are in many ways. And I know that you are working on a short film that is based on your life as well that we're going to talk about. So we have lots of things to discuss, but before we do, I also want to let everyone know, after the commercial break, we are going to be giving away a free t-shirt.
Woo woo.
You're better situated
Oh,
on the
okay.
screen
Here we go.
so they can see it.
This is me being Vanna Brown.
You can win this t-shirt to wear for next weekend's Gay Pride weekend. This is the new campaign that I'm starting. Can I say we are starting, or should I just say it's still my...
No, you should just say we. We're all part of the community.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are starting here in Dallas. You know what?
starting.
I'll just say here in Dallas.
Yeah.
Because of the whole, GL community, and then the GLBT, which changed to LGBT, and then LGBTQIA, and now it's LG some.
With a plus sign, IA, and an asterisk. It's, yeah. I don't even know. And I write for the community, and I've worked in the community for over 2 decades. So yeah, it's constantly changing. So I totally get the need for something that, like I said, is more of an umbrella term that kind of embraces all of us and our diversity. So.
Yeah. And so this t-shirt pretty much represents, you know what, this is all cool and dandy, but how about we mark all that out and we just start calling ourselves the rainbow community? And Tori, I think this is the first time you've seen the t-shirt. What do you think of that?
It is. I love it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do.
What do you? How do you feel about replacing saying LGBT community and just saying rainbow community?
I like that idea because I mean, I think it's really confusing for people that are, especially even people in the community. I think it can get confusing because they just keep adding letters and you want to know what they mean. But like people outside the community, especially like even people I know that are supportive, they just keep getting it mixed up and they're like LBT.
Jeez.
There's a G in there. What's
Right.
the T stand for?
Now on this one right here, okay, so right here we have listed LGBTQIA. Can you list what all of those?
Can I list? Okay. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer. Is it intersex?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
very good.
Okay, is the A? Okay, is it for ally or asexual?
See,
Good question.
I thought it was for ally, but it is asexual.
Okay.
It is
Okay.
asexual.
And you said Q was queer.
Queer.
I think it's questioning.
Questioning?
No, I
Okay.
think it's
Or
queer.
Is it queer?
I think it's queer.
Oh, see, we don't even know. We don't- There's such a need to
I do
just
think
use
it's-
rainbow.
Prime example.
Yeah,
Yeah.
prime example. Like I said, 2 decades working in the community and still don't know exactly
Yeah.
what all those letters mean.
Well, what's the difference between queer and gay?
Well, queer can also be like culturally queer. Like you don't necessarily have to identify as like same-sex loving. You can just be queer as far as like embracing the culture of queerness. So queer is more of an umbrella term, I think, for the overall general feel and embracing of the ideals of the LGBTQ community. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are gay or lesbian, but you may have tendencies. You may just be like, I'm just a queer folk.
Tendencies. Isn't that most preachers?
I would think so, yes, because in your opinion, Israel, isn't everybody always gay?
Everyone's a little gay. Just like, what's the song from Avenue Q? Everyone's a little bit racist.
It's true, though. Oh, that should totally be like your new opening song.
Yeah,
Everybody's
because
queer.
well, you know, I have this ongoing joke with my friend John. Anytime we go and eat Asian food, you know, he'll make some joke. He actually loves Asian men, but he makes a joke, and I'll say, John, that is racist.
Lace it. What is that?
Racist, get it?
Laces. But I don't get the L. Oh. I have not had coffee, people. So just
What's in
bear
that?
with me.
What's in
This
that?
is just water
Oh, okay.
without vodka. Jesus.
That's what it is. Or you'd be getting every
I'd be
joke.
getting every joke.
Well, yeah. So then after we come back, you know, if you keep watching the show, we are going to be giving away a free T-shirt. How do you win it? You'll just have to wait and see.
Woo woo.
Yeah. So Tori, you're the newbie of the group. You have not been on the show before.
That's correct.
Yeah. And so, you know, you're good friends with Shannon, which Shannon's not here
Oh,
today.
Shannon. Shout out, Shannon. We miss you.
I know. We have Jonathan.
I know we like Jay. Yes.
Yeah, Jay right here.
Yeah.
He's switching the
He's
show.
a cool cat. Thank you, Jay.
So I know that you were a little like, oh my God, okay, Shannon's not there, like, you know, for emotional support. And then you're very good friends with Samantha here. She's not here either.
That's my bestie. I love her. Hi,
Yeah.
Samantha.
So
Shout
you're-
out, bestie.
So she's on her own today.
We got
Brandy,
your back.
yeah,
We
she's a
got
little
your back.
nervous.
Yeah,
we
got
gotta make
your
you feel
back.
better.
We got
yeah.
your back.
So, in saying that, I know that you have written a script, and I think it's in sort of like pre-production because it might be made into a film. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So tell us what it's called and what it's about.
So the film or the script is currently titled Lost in Translation, and it's basically kind of my coming out story of like having a very traumatizing coming out experience and kind of the process I went through to heal from that. And so it kind of starts with 15-year-old me living in a very small town in East Texas.
15. So last year.
Oh no.
A few years ago? Because you look really, she looks super young.
I'm 22.
Wait a minute. No,
What?
you're not.
I am, I swear.
She's like, I swear.
There's no way.
am,
I
I
really
promise.
thought that she was like 16, 17.
No,
That's what she looks like, yeah.
don't tell Sam.
So you can actually
Sam's not watching.
She's not watching. She's
you
good.
can actually get a drink at the bar. You're old enough to get a drink at the bar.
I am.
I totally would have been like, there's no way. Get that kid out.
Right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
So it's based on 15. So you came out at 15.
I like to say I kind of fell out of the closet more than anything.
That's
That's I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I was yanked out, that kind of thing. Because basically I got caught by my mother, kind of thing. There was a girl, and we were in the backyard.
Yes.
And yeah, And so, yeah. And my mother walked in on that, and it was not a good reaction whatsoever. And so the script is kind of starts talking about kind of the religious aspect, my very religious family, and kind of how I was raised in that.
And when
how
you
that
say
made me
religious,
feel.
can you say what, like, denominate? Is that what,
Yeah,
how you
no,
say
I was raised Southern Baptist.
Insert psycho strings here. String,
Yeah.
string.
Yeah.
It wasn't a blast. It was
Right.
yeah.
So that's how they pretty much found out. I mean, you didn't even come out.
Yeah,
They found out.
Yeah, no, I knew just based on their religious beliefs and kind of some offhanded comments that my parents had made here and there that they were not going to be accepting of me. And so my plan was to just go to college and then like figure it out after that. But it kind of just happened, and I kind of had to roll with that. And so
just out of curiosity, so she walks into the scene, and then at that moment, like afterwards, when you're like, oh crap, now you say, you were in the backyard, so now you're inside, family is there. How does it start from there? I mean, is it like you just don't talk about it, or you're like, all right, let's talk about this, I know what you just saw?
Well, the specific situation was, she caught me, and she immediately was mortified and ran inside. And my thought was, I'm going to run after her. I'm going to try and like rationalize this in any way I can, because I'm sure she's very surprised. But I could also tell that she was angry and she felt betrayed. And so my instinct was to like sit down and have a logical conversation about it. And
Brandy, is that even possible, you think? Have a logical conversation about it?
Well, I really don't want to get cut off, so
Right.
I'm going to hold my thought until after the break.
Ooh, yeah, what a cliffhanger. Guys, we are going to cut to break. I have a feeling the show, again, is
It's
going to
gonna go
go
by
out
really fast.
so fast.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break, guys, but stick around because we're going to find out what happened, and we're going to find out Brandy's reaction to this. Don't go anywhere because we also have a t-shirt to give away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Don't Panic. If you are just now joining us, I'm going to have my guests reintroduce themselves.
My name is Tori Martin. I'm an editor by trade, but I also do like writing, photography, graphic design, stuff like that on the side. So,
Hi, Brandy Marsky, and I'm a writer for BET.com.
I was going to say for BET now. Yes. Dang. That is pretty awesome.
I'm excited.
Excellent. So before we cut to break, we were talking about how you had come out at 15 and how, well, you didn't come out. You said what? You fell out?
Kind of fell out.
I
was
love
yanked
that.
out.
I love that.
Yeah, I love it because it wasn't your choice. You, you know, you were caught, and you said that you were wanting to have just like a regular conversation. What was the word you used?
Rational.
A rational conversation. And then Brandy, I went to you and I said, do you think that would be possible?
I don't know. I don't, especially coming from a Southern Baptist background, I just don't think that you can have that kind of rational conversation, because where you're coming from a place of rationality, they're coming from a place of faith, and they're coming from of blind faith. And so you can't argue with blind faith. There's no argument that you could possibly say that is going to win out against blind faith.
And you know this for a fact, and we're going to talk about your coming out and the dynamics that are happening right now as well, because it sort of came out. You expressed a lot of that in an article.
I did, in the Dallas Voice.
Yeah.
Award-winning article.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but we'll get to that. So you go in there and you think, okay, we're going to have a rational conversation. We're going to sit down. And then what happened?
So I ran into the house after she caught me kissing my girlfriend at the time, and thinking maybe I could reason with her somehow. But I stepped into her bedroom, and she just had a gun pointing at the doorway. Yeah.
Like, really?
Yeah, like a handgun. Disclaimer, in the heat of the moment, all the adrenaline was pumping. I don't know if it was an airsoft gun, if it was a real gun, but nonetheless, a gun-shaped object.
Pointing at you.
Pointing at me, yes.
Okay.
And people are pretty appalled when I tell them that, but that is.
Well, I mean, it's shocking.
Well, but that's the reality. Also, I think people are shocked because that's coming from a family person. That's coming from your blood. That's coming from the woman who you came out of her body. But that's the reality for a lot of kids, especially LGBTQ rainbow youth that are coming out in these really religious backgrounds. I mean, or not, or even rural That's the reality that so many kids face, and it is shocking, but at the same time, that's the kind of story that other people need to hear. So A, they don't know that they're alone, that it is survivable, you have survived, and that B, other people can see that this is still going on. I mean, this is still happening, even though we're in 2017, or I don't know how long ago you were 15, but still, it's generational. It's still happening.
Yeah. So then she points it at you, and then what did you do?
Instincts kind of kicked in where I was like, gun, have to move. And so I just moved out of the way and collapsed on the floor. And my girlfriend came running in after me. And the rest up until we were in the living room sitting down having a conversation was kind of a blur.
Wow.
And so, because it was my worst nightmare, because I knew that they wouldn't accept me. I knew that they would act irrationally. And so for that to happen and me to suddenly not have control over that secret anymore it's still hard to talk about sometimes, but it ended up basically with us having a conversation about it, and my parents were not very nice about it. They said some pretty damaging things, and the night ended with my mother forcing me to stay in my room with a Bible and reading passages like Sodom and Gomorrah.
A hint, with the Bible pages, since they're so thin, you can roll up. Toques, as they say. I'm just saying.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
Now thinking back to that's what my family calls it.
No, yeah.
When you looking back, when you think about when you were caught and she walked in and or to the backyard and y'all are kissing, running after her, do you now think, oh, I should have done this instead, I could have done this, or do you feel no, that's how it should have happened?
I think it was as much as I wanted to sit down and have a logical conversation, my emotions kicked in that moment too, and so the emotion said, run after her. Like, you can't, like, what is she going to do? Because my parents were recently divorced, and of course she called my father, and it got really ugly. And so I kind of was, I guess, wanting to have some kind of control over the situation, even though at that point it was totally out of my control.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And so now, with what a lot of people don't understand is when you are a gay youth, excuse me, rainbow youth, I should say, because I don't want everyone to think, oh, he's just talking about men, is that a lot of people around you might feel that you are gay or lesbian, whatever. You're not ready. You have to be ready to come out and to be caught. You know, I mean, when I realized it, and I was ready to come out, that's when I came out to my family. So I can't imagine what it would feel like when you're not even ready. You're still discovering, like, oh, maybe you've just discovered that you like other females, but you're just not ready to share that yet. So to get caught, it's almost like something's taken away from you because you're not ready. Is that fair to say,
sense.
Brandy?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Yeah, it's like your power to control when it comes out, how it comes out is taken away from you. So your agency is basically taken away from you at that moment. Yeah.
Because one of my favorite cousins, her name's Irma, not the hurricane, but her name is Irma.
Although they're both brown.
Yeah. Irma. So her son, we call him Pookie. Pookie. He's coming to visit me in November, but everybody knew he was gay, but he was so young. And so she finally texted me, and she had said, and this was years ago, and she says, I found these photos in his phone of, just not very appropriate things. And she said, so I know that he likes boys. Should I confront him? And I said, no, don't, because he's not ready to tell you yet. He's still discovering. He's fighting it because I'm sure he doesn't want to be, because he wants to, quote, fit in this small town. So don't. And then he finally comes out to her, and now their relationship is much stronger because he always had this little attitude. He was angry at the world and everything. And so, you had that taken away. You didn't have that opportunity. Yeah. So how do you feel about her walking in and seeing that? I mean, is there like a little resentment? Like how, this was...
I mean, I wouldn't say resentment, but it definitely was kind of like I didn't want her to find out in that way. Like I wish that I could have sat her down and been like, Mom, this is who I am. Like, I hope you can love and accept me despite what you've been taught in church, kind of thing. Like I was preparing myself for that conversation to come down the line, and I was never able to have that.
And when you say what she was taught in church, in that religion, what do they say about homosexuality?
So Southern Baptists, they follow pretty much the entire Bible, even the Old Testament. They still kind of abide by that. And so, in the Old Testament, it talks about how homosexuality is a sin. It's a quote, an abomination kind of thing. And they take that to heart, even though it's in the Old Testament, and like I could go on about that, but they take pretty much any passage at face value and take it literally and out of context. And out of context, absolutely. Like they even teach that dancing is a sin, kind of thing. And so
is this the movie Footloose?
I was like, so this is like a Footloose kind of. Okay.
Yeah, it's a very extreme branch of the Christianity or of Christianity, and
but what's interesting is it's all up to interpretation. And it just seems like if somebody is really accepting of that, they will find passages or find ways to justify it. And then other people will do the opposite. So it's almost like they're really saying, excuse me, how they truly feel about it, but still using the filter of the Bible. And which is really weird. And I want to bring up, there's a certain movie that came out. It's a documentary, and I think we have a visual to pop up. It's called For the Bible Tells Me So.
Oh, yes. That's a good one.
I've seen it,
yeah. I took that film, and I took it over to West Texas when my family, when I was going to visit my family, and I showed it to them because it's a really great documentary about gay kids in really strict religious families. So I highly recommend it to anybody.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I found that in high school, and it's kind of one of the only reasons that I was able to kind of start finding peace within myself, because I had a lot of self-hatred built up, thinking like, oh well, like
I did too.
I must be choosing this, like they say I am, even though I know I'm not, but I must be, kind of thing. And you just really start to hate yourself because you think that like you should be able to change, but you can't. And but that documentary really helped me a lot, and I tried to, I was wanting, you know, for my mother to accept me, and I tried showing it to her, and she just wasn't ready to see it. So
well, and what I discovered when you were talking about choices, because I thought of this too when I was coming out, is when people say, well, yeah, you can still sleep with women, and I'm like, well, yeah, I can, but I don't want to. And they're like, yeah, so you're choosing to be this way. And what they don't understand, and I just here recently figured out how to word it, is a lot of the people who are not a part of the rainbow community, they feel that it's all about the person you have sex with.
Yeah.
I can have sex with women and enjoy it because, I mean, certain body parts are made to go into other body parts. So yeah, it's going to be somewhat enjoyable, but it's not about the sex. It's about how you connect mentally with someone romantically and fall in love with. I cannot fall romantically in love with a female, but I can have sex with one. So I think what we need to help educate on, and I know that you and I have had this discussion about it's not our job to educate, or maybe it is.
We go back and forth, yes.
But they need to understand that none of this has to do with the sexual thing, because that's what they're already thinking. It's who you mentally connect with romantically. Is that fair to say for you?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, because same, except vice versa. You know, you can sleep with anybody really, and like whatever. But it really, at the end of the day, is about who you connect with, and who, you know, in 10 years you can go home to them and just enjoy their company and enjoy the fact that you're sharing a life with them, and like that's what it's all about. And like, you know, if you're gay or if you're a lesbian, like you just, it's not like everybody else, and I wish people understood that.
Yeah, and we have no choice in the matter.
Yeah, that's where the choice is.
Yeah,
so
we are not in control of it. We're just who we are. And guys, we have to take another break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little more about the film, and we're going to give away a T-shirt, and we're going to talk. Oh, that's right here. And we're going to talk to Brandy Amara Sky about her family dynamics as well. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Everyone, welcome back to Don't Panic. Before we cut to break, we were talking to Tori about her coming out story, and unfortunately, she didn't have a great one. You know, just had something to do with, you know, having a gun pointed at you. That's all.
No big deal.
No big deal.
No big deal.
So you have taken this not so great moment in your life, and you've decided to turn it around and make it a positive thing and express it in a script. And so I know that you've had people approach you saying, "I would love to make this into a film." So tell us about that. Like what's going on? What phase is it in?
We're still in pre-production. Kind of, we have the lead cast. Obviously, Samantha here is going to play the younger version of me, and we've got
Which Samantha looks as old as you, if not older.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh,
In a good way, like a maturity way,
yeah.
Samantha, because you're beautiful.
Yeah. So we've got her, and so we've got most of the crew together as well. The script's done. So we're kind of just getting funding and locations right now, and then as soon as that's done, we're going to cast and hopefully get it shot at the end of the year. So.
Nice. And I know Shannon, who usually is producing this show, but he's not here today because we have Jay. Yeah.
Yay, Jay!
I know Shannon's working on the project as well, right?
Yeah, Shannon's our producer. Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Love it.
So now, because this was such an emotional kind of subject matter and a part of your life, how does it feel like sort of reliving it in a way?
It definitely was difficult just to get a first draft of the film because it was kind of, or of the script, because it was kind of like, okay, what's relevant, what's not? I want this to be a short.
Right, which I've read the script. It's
I
very
have too.
good.
It's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you guys. Yeah, it was kind of like finding out what was relevant, and obviously, like, you know, I don't have like audio recordings of the conversations that happened, so it was more about like not really trying to figure out exactly what was said, but more about capturing like the emotion that I was feeling during these things that were happening, capturing the emotion of like feeling like I was a sinner and like I was going to go to hell because I was raised in the church, and you know, for 15 years, if that's all you hear, like you know, what are you supposed to think? And so
there's a really great song by Madonna. And the chorus is, "I'm a sinner, I like it that way." Yeah, it's a really great upbeat party song. I used it for one of my DVTV segments when we were capturing the Pride Parade. That was the background song. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's okay. But really, kind of what got it all started was seeing some of the films at the last round of Rack Focus and seeing like the heavy subjects that they were using, and it kind of just gave me the inspiration to start writing. And it was real sloppy at first, and I like almost wanted to quit, but Sam saying yes to the part is what kind of motivated me to keep going with it.
Yay,
and,
Sam!
Yay.
And,
any particular reason why you didn't want to play the lead? Was it too close to you, or?
I don't really consider myself an actor. I mean,
Okay.
I've never done it before, and I think my place is behind the camera. I'm an editor by trade, and so
Right.
I wrote it and I'm going to direct it. But
Which can I say? I think it's super sexy when a female is an editor, a video editor. I don't. Something about that is like super sexy.
thanks.
Yeah, because you just normally see
He's
like.
calling you sexy.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
It's hot. I think it's the talent that
The
comes in,
talent,
that
yeah.
you know that this person's talented and they're clicking all these like, wow, yeah, hell yeah. Yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
sure. So then what's the timeline for this to be finished and like out? Because I'm sure people are going to be wondering, hey, well, how can I see this movie?
Yeah, absolutely. We're hoping to film it November, December, and then I want to give adequate time for post-production, so probably 3 months minimum to get it edited and actually like have someone do sound design on it and get an actual score as well. And Abby Joy has agreed to write an original song for it. She and I have talked, and she read the script and she really loved it, and so we're going to talk more about that. And she's
really good.
she's gonna she's on board to write an original
See,
song for it.
this is so great to know that people are already on board that may or may not be a part of the rainbow community, but they want to play those roles. They want to contribute their own music and everything toward this gay themed film.
And I think it's a testament to your script because, you know, when Shannon asked me, you know, to be a part of it in whatever capacity I am, I was like, well, I want to read it first, you know, because I don't attach my name or my art or anything to something that I'm not fully aware or I can't 150% support. But your script is so good that
Thank you.
I literally saw myself in it. So, and that's it's a testament to your writing as well and your story. So kudos.
Thank you. Yeah, the whole idea, like the goal for this is like, you know, you see those films on YouTube that like have millions of views, but mostly they're to give people kind of something to represent themselves, but also something to give them hope. And that's kind of where I'm coming from. It's like because I sit sometimes and I wonder, like, you know, I went through all of that and I couldn't have gone through that just for me to be a better person. Like, I want other people to be able to take something away from this. And so kind of my goal is, you know, maybe, you know, send it on a festival run, of course, but you know, at the end of the day, just like put it online and have it available for people to watch and take something away.
Exactly. And for somebody who might be in that situation, or it's happened to them, where they say, oh, I'm not alone. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Because you know, it is a story of hope.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's hope for our future.
Yay.
Yay.
And, you know, and speaking of hope, you know, we have this wonderful lady right here who is now going to be writing for BET.com, excuse me. And I know that you have a story as well. But before we transfer over to that.
Are we saying hi to people?
Yeah, we are saying hi to people. So Shannon Houck says that, what? Something about with a fantastic producer. Oh. Yeah,
he's the fantastic.
He's the
Thank
fantastic.
you, Shannon.
Yeah, and then he says, and he's usually into guys. Yeah. But Alan Dunkel does say that he wants to see your film. He's anxious to see it.
Thank you.
And then a guy. There are a few hellos that we need to say hello to. Eric, thanks for watching right now.
Thank you for
there's
watching.
quite a few people watching, and I know somebody. So Brad says, my sister experienced a story like this. My mother drilled religious guilt, brainwashing her to believing that being with another girl was wrong. So, see, you're already going to have an audience of people that need this film, because I don't think a lesbian coming out story and religion, I don't know if it's touched on a whole lot, at least that I know of.
I don't think so. Not that I can recall. Not in that capacity.
Yeah. And so now with your story, is it similar to this, or is yours like completely different? Because I do know that there's a religious element to it.
It's similar in the sense, but I was born and raised Roman Catholic, and I went to parochial school until I was in ninth grade. So I mean, it's Roman Catholicism, and that's, you know, really big in the Mexicana and the Mexican community, and it's basically the same thing, you know, same religion, same. But I went to confession, you know, every Tuesday, or church every Tuesday and Thursday, confession every Friday. And I actually, my first lesbian experience was in third grade with with one of my friends, my best friends. Her name is, I'm not going to say because she's in my book and I don't want to get sued or anything.
Can you say her first name?
I call her Delilah in the book that I'm writing. So we're going to call her Delilah.
But radio host?
No, Delilah. No, not the radio host.
Love someone
I'm not that
tonight.
old, Israel.
Okay. I am.
I am not that old. Actually, I kind of am, but... but no, it was in the actual bathroom, and we went and we just pulled our shirts up and we rubbed our boobs together, and we did it all the time. But then she called me out at summer camp, and she told one of the camp counselors and said, that's a lesbian. She likes to rub her body up against other women. And I didn't even know what that word meant. Like but I knew it was bad. The way that she was slinging this word at me, like I knew it was bad. And so like I kind of knew then that I was gay, like in fourth grade. I actually came out to myself at 16. I was actually in regular school. I was at Hamlin Middle School, but my parents I didn't come out officially to my parents until I was, I want to say 24. And it was when George Bush got elected. And I was like, this shit is going to hell in a handbasket. So why not just come out? Let's just throw it all in the basket all at one time and be like, because my parents are huge George W. Bush fans. I know. And so I was like, fuck it. Let me just throw it all in there. And they recently, as in the last couple of years, are born again Christians. So they are evangelist. My father is now recently ordained as a minister at his church. So now he's an actual preacher. And so the column that I wrote about was I'm an only child. And so the column I wrote about was my experience of me and my soon-to-be wife asking my family for their blessing. And my father told me no. And I'm not going to start crying. It's still really, it's really hard because I come from a family that has never said no about anything. And my father was the one that introduced me. He showed me my first gay, documentary and said, there's nothing wrong with these people. Like he's a psychotherapist. And so he was one of the first therapists in Corpus Christi who actually counseled people transitioning.
So then how would that translate to him saying no?
He's de-evolving because he's de-evolving from where he was in this realm of openness to
now him being born again. Is that when it started again?
And that's when it started. And so for me, what was the hardest was rectifying this man that I knew and love, and I'm such a daddy's girl, and that never told me no, and that taught me about feminism. And he was like, you can do anything that a man can do, but better. And coming from this place to all of a sudden him saying no at the point that I was never going to get married. Like, I don't believe in love in that way. Like, it was never going to happen. But for him to tell me no, it still breaks my heart. Like, I'm still heartbroken that this man I love told me no. And I'm their only, chance of success, or a kid or whatever.
And when you say he told you no, how was your mother included in that? I mean, was she like against or saying yes and he was saying no, or they were both?
My mother is basically will follow my father's lead. It's very much that relationship, and it's a relationship that I respect. I mean, they work. I mean, they've known each other since 3rd grade. They got married right out of high school. Like, literally, they've been together for 42 years.
Wow.
So they've been married, and I come from such a strong background of love and commitment and loyalty, and the fact that they couldn't see that I actually had found that in another person that just so happened to be in a female casing in this, lifetime.
That's a really great way to put it too.
Like they just couldn't see that this person that I loved was in a female casing. And that was the clincher. And I wanted my father to walk me down the aisle. And, part of the article, I begin the article, like, I was never the girl that dreamt about the dress or I dreamt about the shoes. But I always wanted my father to walk me down the aisle.
Yeah.
That was the thing that I dreamt about. And him telling me no kind of pulled that rug from underneath my feet.
Right. Well, we have to cut to break, but for anyone who wants to know all of the details of this story, how can they find this article?
It's if you go to the DallasVoice.com, I believe if you search Brandy Amar Sky, it'll come up. It's called on being gay and asking your born again parents for their blessing. So you can find it at DallasVoice.com.
Got it. Guys, when we come back from break, I want to know the dynamics now with you and your family. And we're also going to give away this shirt just in time for Gay Pride next weekend. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
I hate that I always start tearing up.
Back to Don't Panic. Brandy, right before we cut to break, you were talking about this article that you wrote about your family, you being an only child, and then they said your father, who is an ordained minister, said no to you. Yes. When you asked for him to marry you and your wife. So I'm just curious.
I didn't even ask him to marry me and my wife. I just wanted their blessing. I just wanted them to say, yes, we acknowledge that you found the love of your life. Like, I just wanted their blessing. Yeah. I even told them I didn't expect them to be there because I knew it was against their religion. I just wanted their blessing.
Wow.
To just say, go forth in love and harmony and peace.
And so how long ago was that? And then what's going on now?
Okay, so that was okay. We're 2017. I want to say that was 2013 or 14 was when that happened. And
I was 22.
I was 20. I was younger than you. Yeah. So it was back then. And what was your other question? Sorry.
So what's the dynamic today?
I love my parents. I love my family. and I try really, I don't bring anything up. We don't talk about politics. We don't talk about anything. We don't talk about any of that because I don't want to kill that only lifeline that I have to my parents, if that makes sense. Like I'm still out but I just don't have those conversations because to me, it's just not worth it. There's certain things that just aren't worth it in this life. And to me, religion is, especially with my family. Now, if it was somebody else, I'd be like, fuck it, you're out for forever. But these are my parents. And to me, having a relationship with them is more important than getting into a semantic disagreement. That's me personally.
Right. Absolutely. And, my family dynamic is very good after I came out. It helps when you live 4.5 hours away and then you can just come and see them and just not make it a big deal. And then they eventually come around. Good luck to you on everything that's going on and how you're handling
and
that.
They live in Corpus Christi. So they live in Corpus Christi. And so, we're 8 hours away and we see each other maybe once a year. And really, because we only see each other once a year, it's easier to focus and concentrate on the love and just spending time and visiting than it is if I were to see them on a constant.
Tell them that Hurricane Harvey happened because they haven't said yes.
Seriously.
Hey, they use it on us all the time, right?
They're like, wait, wasn't it Ann Coulter was like, it's the lesbians that... Please. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, I was just trying to lighten up the mood a little bit because there are really great stuff happening when it comes to... with the dynamic of the family of things that you can show them. We were talking about the documentary... For the Bible Tells Me So. I'm trying to think of like films that you could show your family to say, hey, look, this is like more lighthearted kind of stuff. I know that there's another movie, and I think I have a visual as well on there, Jay, and it's called In and Out.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah. And it's a great movie to show people that is very PG, but it still gives a really great message of what it's like for someone to come out because you may not even realize that you're gay or you're fighting it, and it's a really great movie to show to your family, especially if they're even like in a small town mentality, religious mentality. It's a good film to ease them into it.
The other one that I really recommend, especially if you are a queer or LGBT or rainbow community of color, is La Mission with Benjamin Bratt.
Yes.
It's focused on a brown family and coming out, in the Mexican culture. And then of course, Moonlight. Yeah. I would highly recommend this. And because I think there's also an extra level if you are a person of color and coming out. There's a lot more stigma, I think, surrounding brown and black people coming out as queer than there is.
Have you seen any of these that we're talking about?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, you really. Yeah,
we'll do a list for you because these are good.
Yeah, we should totally do a list and put it out on the bottom for anybody who's interested, like at the bottom of the comments, because there's some really great movies out there that show different perspectives of coming out.
Absolutely. And guys, we're going to have to cut to break here in a second. We still have about 3 minutes. So I want to give away this T-shirt right here.
T-shirt.
So we were discussing how we're going to give it away, and I finally decided it's going to be a little trivia question about moi. It's my show, right? I can do that. It can be about me.
He can do whatever he wants. It's all about him anyway.
Okay, so whoever answers this correctly first on the thread of this live video, then we are you get this T-shirt. And I was thinking they could get it next week because what's happening next week?
We're gonna be live. We're taking our show on the road. Are we doing Don't Panic?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be a 2-hour show.
So 2 hours of live TV at JR's Bar and Grill. You're gonna have Don't Panic with Israel Luna, and then you're gonna have DVTV and Spayse at JR's. So come out and you can pick up your shirt. Come have a cocktail. Join the conversation.
Exactly. So the question to win this T-shirt is: I used to work there on the Strip in the Gayborhood at a clothing store that is no longer there. And I worked there for 5.5 years. What was the store, the clothing store where I worked? Now, while they're getting their answers, Brad says, my parents are both set in their ways. Nothing is going to change them. So for me to have a relationship with them, I don't talk about politics or religion.
Yeah, I mean, I hate the fact that, Brad, it's come to that, for us and others, but I choose a relationship, and I think it just comes down, you have to choose, do you want a relationship, or do you want to focus on, you know, either forcing them or having a conversation to try to change their mind? And I want to focus on love and relationship.
Yeah.
So, I feel you, Brad.
By the way, we have a winner.
I was trying to guess the name of because I'm such a bad gay. Like, I was like, I know it's been there forever. I was like, don't tell me, but okay, who was it? Who won?
Well, I don't know his exact name because he goes under Defend DACA.
Oh, I like that. Thank you.
But he answered it correctly. Union Jack.
That's what it was. Fuck, I knew it. I was like, I was like, there's 2 words. I could see it in my Union Jack.
Oh, whoever it is, he says, it's where I fell in love with you. Oh, who is this? Defend DACA. Who are you? Because I can't really see the profile picture on my phone.
You might have a date tonight. Defend DACA.
I know. But yeah, feel free to go. Oh, it's Eric Miles. Eric, come by JR's next weekend during Gay Pride while we're doing the show live, and we will give you your shirt.
Yay, congratulations.
Yeah, and guys, so again, for this shirt, you can go, we'll put the website on the thread here as well. You can order these t-shirts because I really want this term to start to, what am I trying to say, to pick up steam, to snowball, because I really do feel that we could just be called the rainbow community and stop the crazy madness with all of the letters. I'm all about the letters. I want all of us to still support all of those letters. It's just easier to say and understand. Fair to say?
Fair to say.
All right, guys, we are going to cut to our last break. Don't go anywhere. We're going to close out the show, and you can find out more about these wonderful ladies and other stuff.
And this wonderful man.
Yeah. We'll be right back.
I can't believe that show is over, Israel.
I know, right?
Like, I feel like I can't believe that this show is over.
Super fast, super fast.
Stop.
Oh, there we go.
Is what it was.
Exactly. That was Shannon. Guys, we have 2 minutes left, and I'm going to give it to the ladies here. How can people find you, see your work, whatever?
If you want to see my editing demo reel, I guess that would be the only thing for people to really see. You can find my name on Vimeo. That's where I got it. Facebook too, that kind of thing. So.
What name are you under on both of those?
Just Tori Martin.
Tori Martin. Yeah. Awesome.
Nice.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Hi, Brandy Mars Sky. You can find me at brandymarsky.com for a list of projects. I also have a blog. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook under brandymarsky.com. Next weekend, in addition to being live at JR's, I'm actually getting out of my writing hole, and I'm going to be performing, which I haven't done in like 5 months, so I'm super excited, at Sue Ellen's for their Mustache Envy show. So that's Friday night, and then you'll catch me live at the parade. I'm going to be with Brad Pritchett, and we're going to be doing DVTV on the scene.
She's not too busy to be at the parade.
She's not too busy to be at the parade, girl, or the live show.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. And speaking of, we're going to be going live next weekend at JR's. It's going to be a 2-hour thing. We're going to have Don't Panic, and we're also going to have, I guess we can say, DVTV in JR's.
Oh, DVTV, yeah, and JR's.
At JR's.
I like Cosmos.
Yeah. So that means for all of you, if you come to JR's between 3 and 5, we will be there. Feel free to swing by and say hello.
Buy us drinks.
Yeah, buy us drinks and be live on camera. So we will see you next weekend. Thank you so much. Thank you, you ladies, for being my guests.
Thank you, Israel, for having us.
Sharing your stories. Yes, absolutely. We'll see you next weekend. Bye.
Bye. I can't believe